Hi, this is the Hook Business News Wrap. Let's get you up to speed with this week's top stories. First up, US President Donald Trump has labeled the Indian economy dead. The comment came just hours after he slapped a 25% tariff on Indian goods, effective the 1st of August. Now, while announcing the tariff rate, Trump repeated his usual charge that India's tariffs are too high and called our trade barriers strenuous and obnoxious. Now, along with the 25% tariff, he also warned that the US would penalize India for heavily sourcing military gear and energy from Russia. And as always, Trump made headlines with the drama, but India's response was calm. The government said it had taken note and reiterated its commitment to ongoing talks for a bilateral trade deal. Meanwhile, Indian stock markets didn't flinch either. On the 31st of July, that's the day after the tariff announcement, Indian equities ended flat. For the week as well, the Lal Street closed just marginally in the red. Meanwhile, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal hit back without naming Trump. He pointed to India's rise from being part of the Fragile Five a decade ago to now on the path to becoming the world's third largest economy. While India faces tariffs, others struck deals. The EU clinched one with the US with 15% tariffs on most goods, a relief from Trump's earlier 30% threat. South Korea followed with its exports to face the same 15% rate, while US goods enter duty-free. Then came the surprise twist. Trump said the US had signed a deal with Pakistan to develop its oil reserves, and in what seemed like a dig at India, he added that maybe Pakistan would be selling oil to India someday. In other big news, India has dethroned China to become the top smartphone supplier to the US. Yes, really. Between April and June, India shipped nearly 12 million devices to the US. That's a 240% jump year on year. That's a 44% market share, up from just a sliver last year. China, once dominant at 60%, has slipped. Driving the surge, Apple's shift to made in India iPhones as it dodges China's tariffs. And finally, the big M&A headline. Tata Motors has announced the biggest acquisition in its history, a $4.4 billion deal to buy the commercial vehicles unit of Italy's Iveco Group. Already the owner of Jaguar Land Rover, Tata is now eyeing the global CV market. The combined Tata Iveco entity is expected to rake in around $25 billion in annual revenue. The deal is expected to close by early 2026, pending regulatory approvals. And that's all we have on this week's Business News Wrap. Head on to our podcast section for the latest episodes of Startup to Scale Up.